And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasha here with the Man Hour After Hours. Guys, we've had a great day of sports talk so far today. A lot of things have been happening. Talked a little bit of Chicago Bears, talked some Dallas Cowboys, talked some Washington Commanders. But this is After Hours. This is chill. And the only person I'd rather chill with is my man, the peanut butter to my ladies, Mr. Brandon B.C. Combs. Combsy, what is going on today, man? It's been a long time since we've had a privilege of sitting down and saying, what's up, man? So what is up?
Yeah, man, it's been a long time since we've sat down on a Wednesday night and done the show together, but we've had the holidays come up, you know, and it's always a time for me to go up north, visit my kids and you know, spend some time with them, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, it's been great, man. How was your Christmas? How was your New Year?
Man, my Christmas was great. My mama came down. We hung out with the mama and my sister. The boys got some four-wheelers, so we're tearing up some mud in the background.
I saw those.
Man,
that was awesome. Those little Raptor four-wheelers.
Yeah. So they're not like Raptor four-wheelers. They're dinosaur four-wheelers, right? For those people that are like, oh, this motherfucker bought a Raptor for his five-year-old.
Not the Ford Raptor. Not the Ford Raptors.
No, it is literally a Raptor dinosaur in a four-wheeler. Dude, that thing goes 12 miles an hour.
Yeah, I was watching some of the videos that your wife was posting. Yeah. Your son's trying to run her over.
Yeah, River and Trip were having balls, man. They're having a grand old time. But Combsy,
that's awesome. This
is the time of year that, you know, the NFL is really starting to wrap up, and you know, we're like, man, week 18. What does it really matter, right? And Monday night happened. So if you guys are not a part of the sports world here, Damar Hamlin took a blunt shot to the chest. He was making a tackle. T. Higgins lowered his shoulder and gave him basically a blunt shot to the chest. Now, Combs, let me ask you this question real quick. I'm pretty active on Twitter because I love to troll and really get people, you know, going over there, right? People are legit giving T. Higgins death threats because he tried to kill this man. Like, did you hear about that?
Stupid. No, I didn't hear about it, but people are dumb. Look, it was a football play. And that was the thing that I said at the time when it happened. When he stood up and then he collapsed, I'm watching the game upstairs with my father-in-law and with Michelle and all them, and I see him collapse. I'm like, so that was weird. I said, it didn't look like he went helmet to helmet. First thing I thought it was head injury, right? Because anytime we see a guy go down on a football field, it's the first thing we think.
Concussion, neck injury, yeah.
And then they show the replay. I'm like, whoa, that was weird. You know what I mean? Like, and yes, T. Higgins lowers his shoulder into him and tries to bull the man over, but that's what football is. I don't know if you guys have been around before, but football is a violent sport.
Yeah.
That's what we love about the game is the violence, right? I mean, how many times before, you know, all the new rules that don't allow defensive players to make tackles, I mean, how many times did we stand up and cheer when a guy just got freaking demolished? Come up the side. I mean, the linebacker there for out of Louisville that got drafted, what was his name? He blew the guy up and freaking knocked his face mask off. And like, I mean, that's the type of stuff that we love to see, right? Like we love that part of the sport. This was just a good football play. And unfortunately for Damar Hamlin, you know, he just got hit in the wrong spot. And unfortunately for him and his family, and look, my heart goes out to Damar Hamlin. Like I texted you right after that play happened. I mean, you texted me back. I was like, dude, did we just watch a guy die on the field? I'm like, I kind of think so. Like, because the way that everything was in that time, we were just like, wow, what just happened? And
exactly.
It was just an unfortunate timing for it. And it's just one of those plays. There's nothing you could do about it. There's not even a way you can stop it from happening again. So when was the last time you ever seen something like this happen? Never, right?
Yeah, we've never seen it happen. So I was actually watching, I believe it was Get Up yesterday, and they had a neurologist on, like on the show, and she was basically explaining like how the cardiac arrest thing happened, right? So if you guys do not know, a cardiac arrest is basically where your heart is basically like a pile of worms, right? It's just like it is going all over the place, and it can't find itself to like beat properly. So they were shocking him to basically try to condense that heart and make it like re-pump again. And then in the process, he stopped breathing. So basically, from what the girl was saying is like she doesn't know personally, but he could have had a heart issue, a underlying heart issue, whether it be a weak valve, a heart murmur, etc. And a perfect storm happened, right? It was 60 degrees outside. The valve happened to be open as like he got hit, and the wind blew from the east at 16 miles an hour. Like it was it was just a perfect storm. We could see that play 150 times over, and we'll never see that again. So it was definitely a very, very freak accident. And when everything was happening, you could tell like something was wrong, right? Like even just take the commentators out of it, take the players out of it, right? Take Hamlin out of it. You could just see like the stands, you could hear a pin drop, and this is a rowdy game. This game means a lot, still means a lot, right? Yeah. And for people just to be quiet like that, you're like, wow, what is going on?
And not only that, but I mean the way that the ambulance was there, the way that the players were kind of surrounded, and then the way the players started reacting as they started seeing it, we didn't know at the time.
Right.
But the reason why these guys are crying and walking to the other side of the field and all this stuff is because they're watching this guy have his heart shocked back into rhythm on the field, man. This isn't a head injury. This isn't something that he's going to bounce back and get up from. And that's what everybody's expecting to have happen, right? You're expecting to see the thumbs up on the stretcher as he's leaving the field, like we've seen 100 times before, and the crowd cheering for him. This was different. And we talked before we even knew what was going on. I texted you and I said, I don't know how after all of this you asked Buffalo to finish this game. And this was before we knew that they were going to even, it was right after the ambulance left the field. I texted you that because they said, oh, there's going to be a 5-minute warm-up, which we now know the NFL never said that. It was kind of the protocol, and it's what the referees were getting into.
Right.
It wasn't a decision made by the NFL. It's just a normal protocol type thing. And I texted you, how do you ask Buffalo to play this game? And then they finally, they talked and they went back to the locker room, and they're like, it's temporarily suspended. I said, there's no way they come out of the locker room.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know which way. And look, I know Skip Bayless does the Skip Bayless thing. I heard your rant about it earlier. So Skip Bayless, for me, the whole thing with Skip Bayless's tweet.
Okay, so hang on, pause. Before you go into that, you want to paraphrase what he said, just so the people that don't know what you're talking about.
So basically what he said in a nutshell, and I'm not, quoting him verbatim, but in a nutshell, what he said was, this game is so important. I don't know how the NFL doesn't stop this game. Or does stop this game. They got to keep playing. And then at the end of it, it said ... Not that any of that is relevant right now, right? Which, when I read it at the time, the way that I read it was it's like somebody saying something to me that they know is offensive, but then afterwards saying, but no offense.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for me, sitting down and thinking about it, and you know me, Buck, I always look at things from both sides of the fence, right? Like I'll take a deep breath and listen to both sides and then make my determination. To me, the anger really isn't so much about what he said, because a lot of what he said was talked about that night on ESPN, was talked about, the next day on ESPN, was talked about all throughout the sports community, which was, this is an important game. What does the NFL do? Hell, I was having conversations with a buddy of mine that we even said, hey, we don't envy Roger Goodell right here. What do they do about this game? Like, we were talking about that on the side after we had talked about Damar Hamlin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's so much what Skip Bayless said as much as I do about it's about the timing in which he said it. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
Damar
right.
Hamlin is still laying on the field when he tweets this out. This wasn't after they had paused the game. This was while Damar Hamlin was laying on the field when he tweeted this out. So that's why I think there's been such an abrupt reaction to him. Do I think Skip Bayless meant anything negligent by it? Do I think he wished ill will towards Hamlin? No, of course not.
Right.
Do I think Skip Bayless is an idiot? Yeah, he's an idiot. I've always thought Skip Bayless is an idiot. I still think he's an idiot. But it's the timing in which he said it is what makes it so bad. And I didn't like it at the time that he said it, because like I said, I mean, it's like me saying, "Hey Buck, just so you know, all redheads are butt ass ugly and they make my skin crawl." But no offense. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like,
you are spot on.
Somebody
yeah.
and say, "But no offense," and that's exactly what he did with that tweet, and that's why I think there's been such a bad reaction to it. And his co-host, man, Shannon Sharp, is not having any of it. I don't know if you saw the exchange between them two at the start of their show today. I saw the clip of it because I never watched the show. I think Skip's an idiot and Shannon Sharp is a clown, but in this moment, the way that Shannon Sharp went at him, like, there was some real animosity there over the way Skip said it. And to be honest with you, Skip's not wrong. He keeps saying he stands by what he said in the tweet, and I don't think he's wrong. What he needs to apologize for is not what he said, but when he said it. And I think that that's what he needs to understand. And I think that that's why you get the reactions that you're getting all across them. If he had said that the next day, or even, at 11 p.m. after the game was already canceled,
Right.
it would have been a completely different reaction. But the fact that he said it at the time that he said it is what the problem is.
Yeah, I mean, like so first things first is I did go on a rant about Skip Bayless, and I think he is exactly right, because let's talk about this game aspect here. Is that this game, the Buffalo Bills versus the Cincinnati Bengals, have huge implications in the AFC, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is billions of dollars we are talking about. Whether the Kansas City Chiefs host 3 home games, or the Buffalo Bills host 3 home games, there's a lot at stake in this game. And earlier today, I said that they should probably finish the Week 17 game before Week 18 is progressed. Meaning, like, hey, finish this Cincinnati Bills game to see if the Kansas City Chiefs even need to play their starters versus the Raiders, to see if XYZ has to play their like their starters. Because think about this. Let's say the Kansas City Chiefs are playing for the number 1 seed, right? They have to beat, like, as of right now, they have to beat the Las Vegas Raiders to be that number 1 seed in the NFC. If Buffalo Bills were to, I don't even know who who they play. No, the Bills play the Patriots, right? So the Chiefs have to beat the Raiders, and the Bills have to beat the Patriots at this time to be that number 1 overall seed. If the Bills were to lose this Week 17 game versus the Bengals, the Chiefs don't have to play Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs don't have to play Travis Kelce. Let's say, I'm not wishing any injury whatsoever because I'm a Chiefs fan, right? And I'm not, so don't go crazy. But let's say Travis Kelce rolls his ankle, right? And he has to miss that division championship game. Think about the backlash that people are going to get. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs shouldn't even have to play him if they would have known the outcome, of this game, yada yada yada. Like, Skip Bayless is spot on, and I understand. I think the reason why Shannon Sharp was frustrated during the show, I mean, just like you, I saw the minute TikTok or whatever the hell it was. Skip has a problem with interrupting people. Skip, Shannon Sharp was in his monologue is I don't agree with you, and then says whoa, hang on, I'm not taking anything down. Dude, just let him talk. Shut up and let him talk. But I mean, let me ask you this quiet question: Should the NFL make that Week 17 game be completed before we move on to Week 18? I mean, obviously that isn't going to happen. But if you were the commissioner, Mr. Brandon Combs, commissioner of the NFL, the greatest league in America now, right? Since you are the commish, what would you do?
I would kind of do what they're doing now. And I said this the next day. The way that I would handle it is I would treat it the same way. And you know me, I'm a baseball guy. I would treat it the same way baseball does. You play out the rest of the games. After game 162 is done, if that game matters, then you play it. If that game doesn't matter, you let it go. Now, the game's going to matter no matter what.
Right.
The game's going to matter. Buffalo wins and Cincinnati loses and the reason why it's going to matter is because Cincinnati plays Baltimore.
Right.
In Week 18. So the winner of that game will determine the winner of the AFC North. Because if Baltimore beats Cincinnati, they're going to need Cincinnati to lose to Buffalo to win the division. If Cincinnati beats Baltimore, they win the division, but then they can beat Buffalo and jump into the 2 seed. So either way, this game is going to matter. It's going to have to be played unless Buffalo just decides, hey, we're going to forfeit the game. And that's what I think would have happened had the NFL said, hey, look, we're playing this game either Tuesday or Wednesday. I think Buffalo would have forfeited the game, and I wouldn't have blamed him one bit. I wouldn't have. As a matter of fact, I would have been pissed off at the NFL.
Really?
Because they would have put him in that position. Their teammate, their brother, is in the hospital on life support.
Okay. So let's take that scenario.
It's like we have let's say tomorrow, right? We're doing the man hour is live from Bourbon Street here in Chicago tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And say you go into the hospital tonight and you're hanging in the balance and I don't know what's going on with you. There is no way I'm doing the show tomorrow night. Because my head just wouldn't be there. You know what I mean? You can't ask me to do something without the person that I've been doing it with for so long to now not know what's going on with him and not know what's going on with his family and knowing that you're in the hospital. I would want to be there for you and we could reschedule the show for another time. Same thing with Buffalo with this game. I would not have been happy because not only that, you have to think of the fact that had you made them play this game on Tuesday or Wednesday, both of these teams have to play again on Sunday.
Right.
You know, and what we're talking about now where this game matters, here's the difference. You can push the start of the playoffs, which is scheduled to start next weekend.
Right.
You can push that back 1 week because you have that 2-week buffer with the Super Bowl.
Right.
So whether or not you just played the Cincinnati and Buffalo game this weekend, which I would have been fine with that choice too. Cancel all the other games. We only have Cincinnati and Buffalo on Sunday. Week 18 will now be played next week. I'd have been fine with that too. But you've got the opportunity to make this game up next week because now you don't have to have that and it's stupid that they have that 2 week stretch before the Super Bowl anyway. I get it. It's all about money. It's all about all the whatever, the media
hype.
week and all that crap. But it's stupid. They don't need the 2 week hiatus between the championship game and the Super Bowl anyway. The players don't need it. The teams don't need it. It's dumb. So you can scrap that right now and you could push everything back because it's almost like not so much the same on the same level, but it's like you're back in 2020 again, right?
Exactly.
You have to alter your schedule with COVID and you have to alter your schedule because something unprecedented happened on Monday Night Football. It was unprecedented. We've never seen this before. We've never had it happen. And they're in a terrible spot. I don't envy Roger Goodell for having to make this decision at all, because it had to have been a tough one for him. But you have the ability to do this, so you got to do it the right way. I mean, to your point, maybe, it is better and it is more beneficial to like the Kansas City Chiefs to know, and maybe even the Cincinnati Bengals to a point, right?
Mm-hmm.
To know whether or not they need to play their starters heading into the final game of the season.
Yeah. So I definitely understand your baseball analogy, right? As far as, hey, if this is a rain out game, we're just going to push it back till the end of the season, and we're going to play just like afterwards. The issue with that is baseball is, you play 162 games. You're literally playing a game every day. So it is not like you can just let's just move the rest of these games back and you can just fly. There is a reason why they do that, is because of the logistics standpoint of everything, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen it with the COVID season where the NFL is able to be successful on games on Tuesday, games on Thursday. Let's say they decided to play this game tonight or tomorrow night, Thursday night football, right? Bengals versus Bills, part 2. All you had to do is you had to move the Bengals Ravens game to a Tuesday night, and then move the Bills Patriots game, if needed at that point, to a Wednesday night.
Yeah, but it is needed because the Patriots are playing for a playoff spot, so that game would be needed.
Yeah.
But then what are you doing? Are you still starting the playoffs on Saturday?
Yeah. You are.
How are you asking teams that are, because all 4 of those teams that you're asking to play Tuesday and Wednesday are in the playoffs. None of them are the 1 seed.
Right.
So they're not getting the bye. So you're asking all of 4 of those teams, that's your entire, it'd basically be your entire AFC playoff picture, because 4 of those teams are going to play that day or that weekend. You're asking them to play on 3 and 4 days rest?
Let's flash back to 2020. Do you remember the Pittsburgh Steelers playing 3 games in 11 days?
Yeah, but it was stupid.
It was very stupid.
Saying how stupid it was.
Yeah,
and you can't do that for a playoff. Playoffs?
Okay, well, playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? No, so
playoffs.
So with that mentality, right? In the NFL playoffs, we play Saturday and we play Sunday. Even though you might play Sunday night, the next game might be Saturday morning, right? So if you want to go that route, say the Patriots do have to, play that Saturday night game, right? Let's just go ahead and bump that game to a Monday afternoon. And then that time you still get the same amount of rest, and then move their next game to a Sunday afternoon. I mean, it is very logistical there. You can do it if you really truly wanted to, but I think right now, because of the backlash that Skip Bayless has had in this whole situation, people are afraid to say the business side of things, right? I mean, I saw a move today where the Buffalo Bills just signed a safety off of the Jets practice squad, and they put Hamlin on IR. It's still a business. Things are still moving without you.
Yes, and I get that. But again, the Bayless thing is just about the timing in which he did it.
Right.
I don't think it's not that people understand the business. I really don't, because people are talking about it all over the place about when they're going to play this game. It's not the business side of it that I don't think people understand. I think people just don't like the fact that he didn't have the common sense to not say it while Hamlin was still laying on the field.
Well, I'm not trying to defend him, but we didn't know the severity of it, right? Either.
Shitty thing to do, a shitty thing to say. You don't say that while somebody is down and they're attending, and you can see that players are crying and something's clearly serious is going wrong. And you put that tweet out there while his mother is getting in the ambulance with him, it's just bad, a bad look.
Yeah, so I mean, you are right to an extent on that. The timing aspect is totally 100% wrong. But let's flash back to something that, as you said, if I were to go into the hospital and we got a show like our first remote live show ever, right? And things happen, right? Let's say I would have died on a Tuesday, right? The live show is on Friday night. Most companies expect you back at work 3 days after the fact, right?
I would have done the show on Friday night. I would have done it in your honor. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We would have done it because that's what you would have wanted to have happen. Just like Damar Hamlin would have wanted his players, his teammates, to play the game. Whether it's this weekend or whether it's next weekend, he wants them to move on and play the game because that's what he was. He was an athlete. He was all about. This kid is a great kid too, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about a lot of the things that I've seen about this kid come out since all of this happened. This kid is a great human being, so that makes it even worse.
Right.
And you can understand why all of his teammates are kind of attached to him. They know that they're going to have to play this weekend. They know they're going to have to make up this game against Cincinnati at some point because it's a meaningful game.
Right.
They know they're going to have to do this, and they'll do that in his honor. I guarantee you they will have his number somewhere on their jersey. They'll have his jersey somewhere, like hanging up in the locker room, on the bench, wherever the case is. He's going to be a part of the Buffalo Bills and this playoff run. He's going to be an emotional part for them, right?
Yeah, and they'll snap the ball on every play with 3 seconds left or something, you know.
Yeah, but that night, you have to understand why they didn't play the game.
Well, oh, yeah.
And then for player safety reasons, you have to understand why they didn't play that game Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And then still make these guys play again on Sunday. Because from a player safety standpoint, from a head standpoint, making them play on Tuesday or Wednesday would have just been kind of cruel. Because you look at it, it's Wednesday night, and we know that there's been signs of improvement with Damar Hamlin, but we still know that he's in critical condition.
Right. He's
still in a medically induced coma, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So to ask them to play with that on their shoulders is one thing. By the time they play on Sunday, they should have some sort of answer. They should have some sort of idea as to
you
where
would think,
it's going.
right? Yeah.
And they could play with that as an emotional, fuel to go out there and hey, win this one for Damar, play for Damar. You know what I mean? And you're gonna see guys crying during the national anthem. You're gonna see guys crying when they put Damar Hamlin up on the screen, and then they're gonna get to business.
Yeah, it is going to be a very emotional thing.
Right.
100%.
But to not play this game this week, it just made too much sense. If they would have made him play this week, I would have had a hard time, backing that up.
So let's say, let's talk about the business side of things. Let's say the NFL says, you know what, we are not going to play this game. Everything is on as scheduled. We will mark it up as a Bengals win 7-3 because that was a score at the time of the injury. And then let's say the Buffalo Bills have to play. Who would it be? Let's say they got to play.
Well, if that's the case, they fall down to the 3 seed if Cincinnati beats Baltimore.
Yeah,
Sunday,
and they're looking at playing the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
And then let's say the Chargers beat the Buffalo Bills. Do you think there is some type of outrage in the community like, oh, we should have had a first-round bye, and this, and this. Now we had to play a very hot team like the Chargers. Like, this is BS. Like, what kind of outrage do you think there would be?
First of all, you can't say that you should have had a first. Well, look, if Kansas City loses on Sunday, then I guess you could say that.
Right.
I can't imagine that they forced this into a win for Cincinnati. I got to imagine that they play this game some way, somehow, whether it's on next Thursday night and then maybe they move a couple of playoff games to Monday night to give these guys, 4 days rest or whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm going to be very interested to see how they decide to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if that happens, I would imagine that, there's going to be some sort of, I can't believe you forfeited the game. It should have never been done. And I agree. I don't think that they should forfeit this game. I don't think that they should be just handed a win at 7-3. As a fan, look, take Damar Hamlin out, the situation with Damar Hamlin completely out of this, because obviously that's where the importance is. But this is going to be a great game once they finally play it.
Yeah, it is.
These are two really good AFC teams, and
Championship preview.
We want to see this game happen. We want to see these guys play, and we want to see this happen. We don't want it to be just give one team the win.
So one thing, like obviously I'm a football coach. I played at the very high level, at a professional level, and someday I kind of want my kids to like follow in my footsteps, right? Kind of make a dad proud, and I can live aimlessly through them, right? In a roundabout way. My wife and I sat down and had a very serious conversation. She says, I don't want my kids to end up like this. And guys, we see play after play after play where nothing ever happens, right? This is the first time this has ever happened on the field. I mean, like, I take it back. I think I saw on ESPN, it was like 1997, some dude from the Detroit Lions broke his back, right? But, like, it is so few and far between. You as a parent, Combs, I see Combs Jr. in the chat. Let's say Combs Jr. is a 16-year-old kid, really starting to get his footing with the tackle ball and understanding life and possibly pursuing a college career, right? Yep. As a parent, are you scared to let your kids play football because of what we saw on Monday Night Football?
First of all, I wish Junior was athletic enough to be good at any sport. Just kidding.
No, not really. We've seen he's a Pats fan. No.
But no, I don't shy away from allowing my kids to play sports. We've seen gruesome injuries in all sorts of different sports. I allow my kids play hockey. Junior has played football, baseball. I've my Layden and even Nolan and Ryan, who are 7 and 6, they play hockey, and it's not because you can't be afraid to introduce your kids to sports just because of injuries. Because I'll tell you what, if the boys aren't running, around doing whatever it is at football practice, they're going to be running around with their friends at the park doing dumb shit.
Yep.
And they're going to get injured doing some of that dumb shit. I mean, it's just, that's how kids are. I talk to Aubrey all the time. The boys will go up into the park, and one of them will get behind one of the girls or one of the other boys, and they'll push them over really hard, and then everybody will laugh. You know what I mean? That could cause a spine injury to anybody at any given time if it's done incorrectly.
Yeah.
But you can't be afraid to allow your kids to experience life, and sports are a part of life. And if they like it and if they're good at it, you have to let them play. And yes, is injury a risk? Absolutely. But you know what? Do you want them to be a doctor? There's a lot of risk in being a doctor. Do you want them to be do you want them to be a lawyer? There's a lot of risk in being a lawyer. Do you want them to be a pilot? There's a lot of risk in flying a plane. What do you want them to do? I mean, there's a risk everywhere. Hell, if you want to wrap him in bubble wrap and make sure that he only works at a convenience store, what happens if that convenience store gets robbed?
Yeah.
You can do the what if game all you want, but you just have to know that you've raised them right, and that the coaches that are in place, you have to trust that they know and they're going to teach them the way to play it a safe way. And you have to understand that things are going to happen. So if an injury does take place, it's not because they were playing the sport. It's because an injury took place. Accidents happen. I mean, you can't be afraid to allow your kids to experience that stuff. And I'll never do that to my kids. I'll never say, no, they can't play something because it's a dangerous sport. I mean, the kids, they want to play with Nerf guns in the house. Well, what if one of them gets shot in the eye? You know what I mean? Like, you could do the what if game all day long.
You're exactly right.
But you can't you can't be afraid to let them allow them to play sports. Now, let me ask you, because you did play at a high level. You played at K-State, played in Arena Football League, played in Canada. What, how would you have felt if that was one of your teammates? Like, what is it? Take me into the locker room. Take me into the team atmosphere at that level. What is it like for those other players? Not Damar Hamlin, but what is it like for the other players dealing with what they're dealing with right now?
Yeah, so my college year, I was a sophomore, right? I just transferred to K State, and my roommate and best friend at the time, he literally blew his knee apart, right? He was running a crossing route over the middle. We hit him low, blew his knee apart. MCL, PCL, it was just like a bomb went off inside of his knee. And obviously during the practice and whatnot, at the college level, you only have 2 hours of practice. They said pick up the ball, let's move it down 20 yards, and we're ready to play. But in the back of your mind, the whole time you're like, man, my best friend is down there laying down. He may not never play a snap of football again, and it's because of me. My whole mindset for the rest of that practice, it was I was afraid to hit, right? I was afraid to do this, I was afraid to do that. It was just a very, very surreal feeling. Now, in a game when that happened, right? We were playing Texas Tech, and a kid from another team got his head knocked off, clean knocked off. He was bone stiff before he even thought about blinking, right? And I didn't know the guy. This was back before social media was a big thing. Yes, we had Facebook, but it was just for a college friends, right? You had to have a college email address to get social media, right? So we just knew him in passing, right? And then even then, it was just your heart felt for the kid, man, this kid just got fucked up, it just it is so very surreal. And when you're going through it, you always think, I know this sounds very, very selfish, but you're almost man, I'm glad that's not me, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
when it's the other foot, it is you or it is your friend, you're man, I'm still glad it's not me, right? It's just I know that sounds selfish, but it's true, right?
In a way, it's almost selfish, because then you start thinking. I'm sure you start thinking about, damn, what if that was me?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's so tough. I can't imagine what. You could see in their face. Just guys, really emotional on the field, hugging each other. Some of them tears just pouring down their face. So I just can't imagine. And look, I hope that Damar Hamlin pulls through. I hope, at some point, if he decides to, he's able to resume his career. But it's like how a business works, and it's got to be back to business, and they're going to have to be on the field come Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be interesting to watch. I am sure all eyes are going to be in Buffalo for that game against the Patriots.
Oh, 100%. Sunday. Yeah. So let me add a couple more thoughts. Because many people are understanding they don't understand the brotherhood, right? Why are you crying just like that? He is just your teammate, yada yada yada. You guys realize, even in college at the Division I level, I was in the locker room with the same 110 guys at 5 a.m. until 10 a.m. for weights, meals, meetings, July 1st till December 2nd, right? We were there every day for 4 hours, just for meetings. Then we go 2-3 hours of class, and then we come back for practice for 4 hours. So right there is 8 hours that I'm with those guys. And then study hall, parties, hanging out, right? Like we were probably with each other for 15, 16 hours a day for 10, 11 months a year for 4 or 5 years, right? It's just like you literally see them more than you see your mom. You more than you see your wife, right? Even as a high school coach, during high school football season, I see juniors in high school. I have a better relationship with them than I do with my wife from July 1 till October, right? Sorry, babe.
Yeah.
But these kids are like my life, and they pay our mortgage, so
yeah. And it's the same thing with work. I mean, I've heard people say that all the time. You're with these guys all the time. Anybody that's got a normal job, I mean, you're at work, what, 8 to 5, let's say, or 9 to 5. If you're lucky, I mean, if you're like me, you're at work from 6:30 a.m., sometimes till 7 or 8 o'clock p.m., and then you're home for a couple of hours. You go to bed, and you wake up and you do it all over again. You're at
2 hours with
way
me.
more than you're with your family.
Yeah,
and it's like it becomes a part of you. So like, no matter where you work, no matter what you do, your work environment becomes your friends and your family because you're around them so much. And what these guys go through together, like in the military, right? We're around each other so much that we are taught to have each other's backs, and we are taught to be there for one another. And the same thing goes in the team aspect. You guys are there. You guys are grinding together. You guys all have the same exact goal, right? Let's win a championship, whether it's a conference championship, whether it's a national championship, whether it's a Super Bowl. Let's win a championship.
Right.
We're good enough to win. And you guys are practicing, like you said, 8, 9, 10 hours a day together, right? Weightlifting, eating together, going in locker room together. You guys playing together, practicing together. You guys are doing everything together. And when you see one of your teammates go down, it hurts, man. It sucks. I'll never forget. That was the one memory I always have still from boot camp. Was when we got to that final. So in boot camp, in Marine Corps boot camp, you got what they call the Crucible, and the final 3 days of boot camp. The Crucible is a 3-day simulated war. So you're sleep deprived, you're doing everything. Well, we're in San Diego, and the last 10 miles is a hike. So on the third day, having maybe 3-4 hours of sleep at most, you gotta go on a 10-mile hike, and the last 3 miles of this hike is a mountain that is about a 90-degree angle all the way up. And we didn't want to see any, because if you don't complete this hike, you fail and you go back. We took turns going to the front of the line, everybody holding on to one another's backpack, person in the front, pulling, and then after like about 30 or 40 steps, that person would come to the back, the next person would go to the front. And you just pull each other, and no man left behind. We weren't letting anybody fall behind, and that's the same thing that you have in a team aspect. You don't want to see anybody go down. You don't want to lose anybody, and it for these players, man, they're going through something. You can see, especially in Stephon Diggs. I mean, he shows up to. I'm watching ESPN that night because I couldn't turn off the TV. I was just I wanted to know what was going on with Hamlin. I was waiting for updates, and then all of a sudden in the background, I see Stephon Diggs in street clothes walking into the hospital.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, so, it's real, man. It's real. They're a family for sure. So it had to have been a hard few days for the Buffalo Bills players.
Yeah. So I mean, we have a few minutes here before I gotta head to work for a couple more weeks here. I gotta, but my man Arthur Brown is popping in here, and he says, "What's up, Buck? Fins up, baby." So Combs, we've been kind of down, and this is the after hour show. We do what we want when we want, how we want. Will the Miami Dolphins make the playoffs? I don't think they are.
I mean, they need a miracle, right? Like
they have to beat the Jets, and the Patriots have to lose to the Bills, and they're in.
Yeah, I mean, they should beat the Jets, but let's just face it.
They won't.
In this year's NFL, they might not.
Hey, Skylar Thompson starting, baby. My man from K-State. Boop, boop.
The Bills losing to the Patriots is a real possibility. I mean, they've got an outside shot. I don't think they will.
So you're saying the Steelers make the playoffs?
How do the Steelers need what to happen?
Miami to lose and the Patriots to lose, and the Steelers are in.
But they have to win, right?
Yeah, they have to win.
Who are they playing?
That's a great question. They're not playing the Ravens. Are they playing the Bengals? I don't know.
No, Bengals are playing the Ravens. I'm going to it right now.
Might be the Browns.
I don't. Oh God, that would be wild, wouldn't it? They're playing the Browns. That would be wild for the Steelers. A team, and here we are again, right? Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season, and we thought that this was going to be his first losing season. What did they start, 2-8?
2-6, and they've been 6-2 since then. Yeah.
And now he's got a chance to still finish with a winning season, whether or not they go to the playoffs. Man, that would be interesting to see. Yeah. I might be rooting for that on Sunday, just because of the chaos.
Just because F the Patriots, right?
That too.
All right, guys. So, guys, that is going to be it for tonight. Combsy, where are we going to be tomorrow?
We are going to be live at Bourbon Street, 115 Bourbon Street on 115th and Kedzie here in Chicago. It is going to be crazy. We have Southside Bags there, who's sponsoring Man Hour Chicago. Southside Bags is going to be there for a tournament that they run every Thursday night. They do a great job. Great group of guys out there playing. We're going to be there at 6 p.m. So feel free, come on down, talk to the guys. I'll be there. I know Fitzy will be there. Buck, I know you're trying to get there. We're going to be there live. We have a bunch of stuff we're going to be talking about. A lot of Chicago sports we're going to be talking. So come on down, shell out, show us what you guys got. Let's get there, get loud. Let's pack the place, and then let's play some bags afterwards.
Yeah. So Combs will post the address on our Facebook page if you guys would like to show up there. If you're in the Chicago area or I don't know probably within an hour is probably worth a good drive, Combs, to come out and hang out.
Dude, this place is phenomenal. I mean, it's the largest sports bar in the city. They've got like 5 or 6 different rooms that they do different stuff. Sometimes there's karaoke going on. Sometimes they got a live band going on.
There you go.
And they've got all sorts of stuff. It's insane. Great food, great drinks, great people. Man, it is worth a drive. However far you're willing to drive to come have a good time, that's what it's worth.
Well, tomorrow I'm going to be driving 5 hours, so 5 hours, baby. Come on, carpool with me. Like it'll be fun.
We'll be here.
But guys, that's going to be it for tonight. Join me tomorrow, 2 p.m. East Coast time, right here at youtube.com/manhour or at facebook.com/manhour. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Combsy, I miss doing shows with you, buddy. We need to get back on the same schedule.
Agreed.
Let's
just both quit our jobs.
And I got a good wife.
I do too.
Maybe we can work something out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Send us out, big guy.
Man Hour Nation, rise up.